Okay. Boy, do I have some fun up for us today. But we're going to hold off on that for just 1 second. Allow some people to trickle in, and we'll see how the algorithm treats this title. I might have to restart the stream with a different one. We'll just see how it goes. I'm still figuring out how that works. I don't think anything I put in the title this time should raise any alarm bells, though. So we'll see. I don't want the world to know. I don't want my heart to show. Two faces have I. I pretend that I'm happy. Shalali, I'm Mr. Blue. Shalala, I pretend that I'm happy. Shalali, now that I've lost you. Shalali, what's up? What's up, everybody? Pardon my cover of Lou Christie's Two Faces Have I. I like that song. I don't think I quite have the falsetto to do it, I'll be honest with you. But maybe I could work on it. I used to have a way better falsetto before I started vaping. You know, one of the many reasons not to do it, but is what it is. Make sure you guys hit the like button as you are coming into the stream. I want to get as many people in here as we can, and then we're going to start running as many MAGA people as I can muster to get in here and do this little exercise with me. We're going to run them through the naturalization test, or at least the flashcards for it. So I think it's going to be pretty fun. Considering how much anti-immigration rhetoric's going on right now, considering how much value is being placed on the virtue of being a citizen right now, I think it's going to be edifying to figure out exactly how much civics knowledge the people making these arguments have. But it'll be up to them to help participate in this exercise with me. In order to facilitate that, I need you guys to like the stream. That is the best way to send this stream off to more people so we can get started on this shit. Like I said, I am looking to court a bunch of fucking MAGA people in here so that I can run them through, the flashcards for the citizenship test. Let's just see, if they can answer them. They've got all this rhetoric against illegal aliens and undocumented immigrants. This is like a constant facet of rhetoric for the Republican Party, for Trumpism as a movement. I think it's going to be interesting to see what kind of answers we get when we ask them difficult civics questions. Thank you so much for the 99 cents. The 99 cents, Acid Eater. I appreciate it. What is that haircut? It's bad bangs. I cut my own bangs. What are you gonna, is that the most interesting thing about me? Come on now. Are you a lesbian? I don't self-identify as a lesbian. I've got, minor attraction to men, but, functionally, I guess. Phoebes, you see what the MMA fighter Raja Jackson did? Did that get hit? No, not yet. No, I'll be honest. I haven't been on social media a whole lot the last few days. It's been filled up with deaths from people that I like. So this one guy, Pimp Monk, was a dude that we were, I don't know, in the same kind of fan base kind of community. And I found out in the wake of his death that not only are we from the same fucking state, but we're from the same area of the same state. So it's just wild, dude. I never realized that. And you know, he was somebody that was like just such an established meme in the community, and that was fucking wild and kind of like rocked my world because he was pretty fucking young, 48 years old. And then King Cobra JFS dies, and his death is just such a fucking tragic nightmare because it's almost certainly a death, in my opinion, caused by people egging him on with alcohol for years and years at this point, you know? So that is just nightmarish to think about. And every time I see anything about Cobes, all I can think about is that video that his dad posted where he's like just teary-eyed, and all I can think about is like losing my own son. It's just horrible, dude. So I've been trying to stay my fucking ass away from social media outside of watching some ideologies and like my YouTuber shit. Like I don't but I haven't been going into the comment sections of shit, and I haven't been watching, like, the only content like that I've watched so far has been DP's episode they did, I think, earlier today, talking about some of this stuff, particularly the stuff about Cobes. So, anyway. This is gross. Can't wait for this fad to end. Peace. What fad? Dude, I'm the same age as Cobes. It's weird for me to think about. No, I know. I mean, it's such a fucking tragically young age to die like that, you know? Like, there are people, like, most of the time when somebody dies of something like that, they're in their 60s, 50s, something like that. Not their fucking early 30s, you know? It's just fucked. Anyway, make sure you guys hit that like button. I don't want to make this whole fucking thing about that because that's not what's in the title. That's not what I set out here to do. And I'm not going to play like I knew King Cobra JFS. I just think his death is tragic. And I was explaining why I haven't been on social media a lot. Rip Cobes, but I don't want to like make this whole stream that as if I knew the dude, you know? How old was he? 34. Also, are we going light on the Banhammer tonight? Not sure if I'll stay for super long. Light enough so that I can get some MAGAs so that we can do the citizenship test. I need some people to announce that they're MAGA in the chat. If you are MAGA, please tell me. I need to know. I need to find a bunch of MAGA people. Do not worry, you will not be banned tonight of all nights. But I also need you to be civil and to type well enough for me to read your comments and shit. So if you can do that, that'd be great. Honestly, the readability part is more important than the civility part, if I'm being completely fucking honest. But this is our mission today. I'm going to give you guys a citizenship test. Because there is a lot of anti-immigrant rhetoric right now coming out of the Republican Party and out of the Trump movement. And I am interested to see how many of you guys can answer correctly some basic citizenship questions, right? It should be super easy for you guys, I'm sure. So whenever we get enough people in here, just keep letting me know if you're MAGA. Super chat is a great way to let me know because I see every one of those and I react to every one of them. It's a great way to get your question answered or your comment responded to, by the way. Make sure you hit the like button. That's another important thing you can do. If half of you guys hit the like button right now, we would have 100 likes instantly. So double tap your screen. Great way to help the channel out. You don't have to spend any money at all. Let's see here. Yeah, transphobes are always going to scream into the void. Let's make things okay. We got one person saying they're MAGA that's actually trying to like have a conversation. Okay, so let's change the participant mode to any subscribers for now, you know, and then we'll turn it to a 30-second slow mode. That should make things readable enough in here that I can parse out some comments and we can start to maybe go through some of these cards. I think there's actually an introductory card, so let's see. So I already took the plastic off of this. I got it a few weeks back, and I've been meaning to use it for a while, but I just haven't been in a manic enough mood to do that. So here we go. Not joking. I have the official United States Department of Homeland Security U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services flashcard set for the naturalization test. This is official as official gets. It's got an ISBN number and everything. Okay, so Civics flashcards for the naturalization test, and yeah, so here we go. This is the official U.S. government edition of this publication and is herein identified to certify its authenticity. Use of the ISBN 978-0-16-095153-4 is for United States Government Publishing Office official editions only. The superintendent and documents of the U.S. Government Publishing Office request that any reprinted edition clearly be labeled as a copy of the authentic work with a new ISBN. The information presented in Civics flashcards for the naturalization test is considered public information and may be distributed or copied without alteration unless otherwise specified. The citation should be U.S. Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, Office of Citizenship, Civics flashcards for the naturalization test, Washington, D.C., 2019. So this is the 2019 copy of the U.S. government official edition of the Civics flashcards for the naturalization test. So whenever we get enough MAGA folks in here, this is just like a little social experiment on my part. Maybe you guys will get them all right. Maybe you guys will get a bunch of them wrong. I want you to answer genuinely, though. I want you to try to answer without going to Google. I want you guys to try to, and honestly, if you're not MAGA, you can answer too. But please cite which one you are in your comment to any. If you're going to answer one of these flashcards, as I read them off to you, try to specify what your political leaning is when I'm reading it off, if that makes sense. Or when you're writing your comment in response, right? So, for example, put like MAGA in parentheses, or lib in parentheses, or dem in parentheses, or whatever. Put whoever you voted for last. I don't really care. I just want to make sure that I can differentiate the answers from one another. What the fuck is this dude's gender? Well, it's not dude. I can assure you of that. My wife had to go through that. This is going to be fun. Oh, dude, it's going to be super fun for you. I'm no doubt. So, just as a little introduction to this, while I'm waiting for some even more people to file in, make sure you guys are hitting that like button, by the way. I want to get this out to as many people as we can so that we can start going through these flashcards and so that we can start getting some answers out of people and figuring out just how much do America's different political wings feel like, just how much do they know about what's in these tests compared to the way that they feel about immigrants, right? I think it's going to be revelatory. Just as a little introduction, we've got the USCIS Civics flashcards. These Civics flashcards will help immigrants learn about U.S. history and government while preparing for the naturalization test. These flashcards can also be used in the classroom as an instructional tool for citizenship preparation. Important note, on the naturalization test, some answers may change because of elections or appointments. Applicants must be aware of the most current answers to these questions. Applicants must answer these questions with the name of the official who is serving at the time of his or her eligibility interview with USCIS. The USCIS officer will not accept an incorrect answer. Okay, so this is a stringent test with tight rules on how you are able to take it and how it will be considered. So that is the last little piece of warning information. No, it's not. Okay, we've got one little last bit of information to read off about it. Why not rocking the Sanchu necklace? Because I'm not fucking Christian, so I don't have it, you know? That's the way that works. Dude, I think I would fail this test. Most people would. That's kind of what I want to illustrate, Merrick, but that's why I keep asking people to like the stream, send super chats if you want to, get this stream going so that we can get this test out to as many people as possible. I want to get a big old sample size for this one. USCIS Civics flashcards, the 100 Civics, History, and Government questions and answers for the naturalization test are included in these flashcards. The Civics test is an oral test, and the USCIS officer will ask the applicant up to 10 of the 100 Civics questions. An applicant must answer 6 out of 10 questions correctly to pass the Civics portion of the naturalization test. Although USCIS is aware that there may be additional correct answers to the 100 Civics questions, applicants are encouraged to respond to the civics questions using the answers provided on these flashcards. If you are 65 years or older, and have been a legal permanent resident of the United States for 20 or more years, you may study just the questions that have been marked with an asterisk. So basically, if you've been here a long time, there's some exceptions for what kind of questions you can be expected to answer. But otherwise, these are the questions that a prospective immigrant will get asked. Now, I'm expecting us to not go through all fucking 100 of these, so I'm going to like be holding it like this probably, and if you see this back card, I really don't care. It is what it is, because there's literally 100 of these. This is number 100 is the one you guys are looking at. So Independent. It isn't anti-immigrant rhetoric. It is anti-illegal immigration. Well, it is anti-immigrant for some people. I agree that it's not anti-immigrant in general for everybody, but there are some people making very much anti-immigrant in general kind of arguments right now. It's not everybody. I think that a lot of like more traditional kind of conservatives and more like traditional libertarians and things like that are probably making the more good faith argument of like, we want immigration, we just want it to be legally. And I feel like I can work with those people pretty easily, right? I feel like I can work with those people super easily because for me, I'm like, yeah, I agree. It does need to be legal. So let's make it easier to be legal as an immigrant, let's make it easier to come in here the right way. Let's make it a more expedited process. We can work on that. But yeah, so now that we've got a few people in here, I'm going to go ahead and start reading them off. What is the supreme law of the land? That's the first question. What is the supreme law of the land? What is the supreme law of the land? Oh yeah, because like I was trying to be glib and funny, but I know that there's not necessarily a gender connotation with dude in every situation. But if I remember that comment correctly, they were using it as a gender marker. Let's see. Someone answered U.S. Constitution. Black Lark answered the Constitution. David, when you answer, if you wouldn't mind, just include in parentheses or brackets what political alignment you are. If you're a Republican, Independent, Democrat, it'll help me keep track of your answers, and it'll also help me keep track of what I'm trying to figure out here, like the social experiment that I'm trying to do here, more or less. Okay, we've got Merrick, SP, Okay, all right. So, what is the supreme law of the land? The answer is the Constitution. So, everybody that answered the Constitution, put a 1 in the chat. And mods, if there's anybody hanging out that's a mod, anybody that puts a 1 in the chat that didn't answer the Constitution, ban them. But if they put a 1 and they answered the Constitution, then let them stay. We're going to have you guys keep track of your own points, and my mods are going to keep you honest. So with that one out of the way, we'll go to this one. Alrighty. The flag behind you stands for LGBT progress in America. I just learned that the other day. Yes, correct. By the way, make sure you guys hit that like button. It really does help. Every single time you hit that like button, it's a chance to send the stream out to even more people. Are you filming on a potato? No, but my data may not be the best. Hold on one second. Yeah, no, I guess my data is just kind of taking a shit right now. Okay, so question number 2. Question number 2 is, what does the Constitution do? That's question number 2. What does the Constitution do? No, David, I'm an independent, and I didn't vote at all last year. I sat it out. This is not me dunking on Maga necessarily. I'm not presupposing what answers Maga is going to give on this. I guess I kind of am, because I have been I was raised around a lot of Republican people. I was raised around a lot of people who had anti-illegal immigration rhetoric and anti-immigration rhetoric in general, and a lot of them aren't that familiar with civics, really. Like, I'm not saying all of them, obviously. There's wide variation in all parties. I mean, there's plenty of lefties who aren't that familiar with civics. But I think it's important when someone is making these lofty, high calls to the value of citizenship as a virtue. I think it's important to consider just how much civics knowledge they themselves have, considering how much value they're placing on the immigration process. How much of the information that the immigration process drives into an immigrant's head are they actually familiar with? because they place, like if you place a bunch of importance on it, it seems to me like you should have an adept knowledge of it. Now, me, myself, I don't place that much importance on it. Frankly, I think you could learn the civics of America best living in America. I think you'll figure out who the president is, how they're voted in, how elections work, and all that shit way quicker living here than you will studying a test. Just my opinion. So I don't particularly feel the need to account for leftists not having a lot of civics knowledge, because they're not saying that there's some giant lofty value in the naturalization process. You guys are. Not you guys necessarily if you're not a Republican, but that's my logic. And I'm putting it right out there. I'm being good faith about this. That's why I'm hoping you guys will participate with this. So what does the Constitution do? What does the Constitution do? We're trying to do here, and it's making it impossible. I'm going to look for some regulars. I'm going to see if I have any more regulars in here, because I might need to mod up some more people. The Constitution protects the rights of all Americans. Okay, that's one answer. Constitution makes you have free speech. That's one answer. Does it give us rights as Americans? Hey, Boxer Life, you want to be a mod? Are you someone I shouldn't trust with that power, or can you be trusted to ban idiots out of here that are just going to yell Christian all day? You're on YouTube featured? Cool. It protects the rights of individuals on U.S. soil. Okay, so we've gotten quite a few answers at this point. I'm going to go ahead and read the answer. So, what does the Constitution do? It sets up the government, defines the government, and protects the basic rights of Americans. So some people said it protects the basic rights of Americans. Some people kind of implied it defines the governments, but I didn't see anyone that got that one correct. So there should be no one that types 2. There should be no one that types 2. Unless Blacklark answered and I didn't see, because I imagine Blacklark probably is the one person who got it correct if they did. But, yeah. Establishes the framework of the government while protecting rights of the people. Okay, you got the closest. NC, I will allow you to type 1 in the chat if you haven't gotten another one correct. If this is your first one getting correct, type 1. If it's your second one you've gotten correct, type 2. But if you defined it, basically, if you got sets up the government, defines the government, protects basic rights of Americans, type 2. Otherwise you should remain at 1. So that's the second question. All right. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button, by the way. That is like one of the best ways you can help out the channel without spending a dime of your money and without really doing much either. All you got to do is double tap your screen. So question number 3 is the idea of self-government is in the first 3 words of the Constitution. What are these words? This is one I would definitely get wrong. I can already tell you. Oh, yeah. I always think, because that's a different... I always think that's the Declaration of Independence. What are the first 3 words of the U.S. Constitution? The idea of self-government is in the first 3 words of the Constitution. What are these words? Okay, we got we the people. We got we the people. We the people. Okay, we're getting a lot of correct answers. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Yeah, we the people. You guys are largely getting this one correct. So if you haven't gotten any other ones correct, type 1. If this is your third one you've gotten correct, type 3. If this is the second one you've gotten correct, type 2. All right, we'll move on to question 4. What is an amendment? I'll repeat that again. What is an amendment? Yes, the preamble is part of the Constitution. All right, we got a change or addition to the Constitution. What else we got? What is an amendment? the ability of the person. Yeah. You're so funny. An alteration or change to the an alteration or change to the law/constitution, i.e. slavery is no longer legal, etc. Okay, Merrick, that's Merrick's answer. An amendment is a law or rule set by the Congress and voted on by the people of the U.S. Maybe that's the answer. We'll see. We'll see. Alrighty. Are we ready for the answer to question 4 yet? Make sure you guys hit that like button, by the way. Man, I guess we're going to have to turn idiot mode up even higher. Yeah, I guess that's just how it is. I hate that it has to be this way, but 5 minutes, you got to do it to them. I think that'll stop most of the 0 IQ stuff that we're seeing in here, but we'll see. All right, question 4. What is an amendment? Asking one last time before I reveal the answer. Minor change or addition designed to improve a text, pieces of legislation. Okay. Okay. Most of you guys have gotten this one correct. Most of you guys have, it should clear up the nonsense. Yeah. Speaking of which, Boxer, if you want to be a mod, I will empower you to ban people that are just being idiots that aren't participating in the conversation. It's really the only rule we have in here. I don't care if people are shit talking. I just care that they're like detracting from the fucking subject matter of what we're trying to do here. If we were all just slinging shit at each other today, it'd be one thing, but we're trying to do something interesting with our time today. And if you want that empowerment, if you think I can trust you with that, then let me know, because I will give you the ability to help me maintain some kind of order in here. 2 out of 3 questions. Wasn't here question 1. Okay, yeah, that's fair. Thank you for being honest. Yeah. You able to control frame rate? No. Unfortunately. I wish I could, honestly. I would limit it. Yes, I'm one of Paul's mods, yeah. Okay, so the answer is a change to the Constitution or an addition to the Constitution. So if you've gotten, this is question number 4. If you've gotten 4 questions correct, then type 4. If you've gotten 3 questions correct, type 3. You get the idea. Type in how many questions you've gotten correct so far and your political leaning. So 3 Republican, 3 Democrat, 4 Republican, 1, whatever it is. I just want to fucking see if there's like any sort of distinction or pattern in this. 2 centralist, 2 or 3 libertarian, 1 independent party. Could I ask like what is going on? Like what are the questions about? This is the civics flashcards for the naturalization test from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Citizenships, and Immigration Services. 4 anarchist, hell yeah. Represent. I wasn't here for the original question, but I got 3 out of 3 that I heard. Okay, 2 libertarian. How do you? I'm not going to answer that just yet. I'm all about protesters. DK. I like protesters. I'm cool with protesters. 3 conservative, 3 democratic socialist. Okay, so far you guys are actually doing really good. Regardless of your political leanings, it seems like people are doing okay as long as you guys are being honest about your answers. So, question number 5 is, what do we call the first 10 amendments to the Constitution? What do we call the first 10 amendments to the Constitution? Bill of Rights, Bill of Rights. Do you protest vegetables and gems? What? Bill of Rights. BOR? Okay. You guys are all getting this one right. Yeah. The Bill of Rights. Everyone might as well type 4 or 5, depending on how many you've gotten right or how many you've been here for. This is question number 5. If you've gotten 5 right so far, then type 5. If you've gotten 4 right or you've been here for 4 and gotten them all right, type 4. However many you've gotten right, type those in now. And I didn't see anyone get it wrong, so... Nice, nice, nice. What is one right or freedom from the First Amendment? This one should be easy. This one's another easy one. Question number 6. What is one right or freedom from the First Amendment? Make sure you guys hit that like button, by the way. That is the best way you can help out the channel. The second best way you can help out the channel is by contributing a super chat. It makes sure that your comment gets read or your question gets answered. It's also a great way to make sure that your answer gets recorded to these questions if you want it to be. It's also just a great way to support the stream and tell me you like what you're doing here, you know? I like it. I dig it, kid. Send me money. No, I'm kidding. But it is an option that's out there if you want to. So, speech, protest, press, religion, freedom of speech / religion, speech, press, oh, God. Yeah. Yeah, you guys are getting this one pretty fucking good. Yeah, so the only requirement there was 1, and a lot of you guys have named multiple, so good job. The rights enumerated in the First Amendment are the right to speech, freedom, speech, religion, assembly, press, petition, and to petition the government. So yes. And on the back, it's got, I'm going to start showing you guys these pictures too. On the back, it's got a newspaper stand from 1941, courtesy of the Library of Congress. Thank you, Library of Congress. How many amendments did the Constitution have? This is another one I would have gotten wrong. I'm sitting at like 3 of 5 right now, from like just based on what I would imagine. Maybe I should start saying what I imagine my answer would be, right? Now, actually, I wouldn't have gotten this one right. Or, I'm sorry, I would have gotten this one right, but it would have just been a guess. Okay, we got 27 or 29, 26, 28, 27, 18. No, we got way more than 18. 13. Merrick is like, I don't fucking know. More than 10. Merrick, I better not see you type a 6. Okay, 27. The United States Constitution has 27 amendments. 27. And on the back, it's got a portrait of Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony, advocates for the suffrage of women. So there you go. Righteous, righteous. Okay. Type a 7 if you've gotten all of them correct so far, or if you were here for all of them, you've gotten them correct so far at least. Type a 6 if you've gotten most of them correct, but you weren't here for one, etc., etc. Let me know what your answers are, what your score is at so far. Let me see it. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Turn off slow mode. I can't put my answer when you're blocking me from saying it for 30 seconds. Okay, I will turn off slow mode. You're right. There we go. There you go. It should be fine. It should be fine now that it's just like 5-minute or more subs. You know, I think it'll be fine. 5 out of 6. 6 wasn't here for 7. 5. Okay, cool. Alrighty. So number 8, question number 8, that is, what did the Declaration of Independence do? So I would answer the Declaration of Independence was a formal declaration that the United States was a separate entity from Great Britain, that we were establishing our own country with its own constitution and its own laws, and it set up like the framework for building our country. I have no idea if that's the answer. I haven't flipped the card over yet. Oh, well, yeah, I got it. I went into more detail I needed to. Declared U.S. free from England and established sovereignty. Black Lark got it. Announced our independence from Great Britain. Declared our independence from Great Britain and said that the United States is free from Great Britain. Yeah. And on the back, it's got a portrait of Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, and Thomas Jefferson in writing the Declaration of Independence, 1776, by Jean-Léon Jérôme Ferry. Probably butchered the absolute shit out of that name, but that's okay. Make sure you guys hit that like button, by the way. It can only help the stream. It can only help. Okay, question number 9, okay? So, we've been doing the self-scoring system for a while, and I'm not going to have you guys do it on this round, but when we get to question number 10, after we answer that one, I'm going to have you guys all go through and announce how many you've gotten right and what your political party is, and then I'm going to go through some of you guys' chat history and fucking vet your answers, okay? So, what are 2 rights in the Declaration of Independence? That's question number 9. 6 out of 7. These are all middle school level questions, to be honest. You would think so, but I get the feeling that when I go back through chat history, I'm going to find more than a few people who thought that they had a really good idea about the shit, but that really didn't. I think I'm going to see some people fronting, in other words. What are 2 rights in the Declaration of Independence? Honestly, mad because I never got to learn much in civics in high school. I would love to get these cards. I don't know if you can, like, I don't know if they're free, but they're probably not expensive to get from the Department of Homeland Security. You know, probably not. I don't know, though. Like, I picked them up at a fucking flea market or some shit. They were actually a gift. A family member found them in a flea market or a yard sale or something like that, still wrapped in the original plastic and everything. So that's how I came into acquiring these. Let's see. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So 2 rights in the Declaration of Independence. No, it says the Declaration of Independence. I'm in a political debate class for my degree, and I've taken like 3 history classes for history so far. Well, yeah, then you're probably going to get them all right. Slavery and white men owning property. Oof. That might actually be true. I doubt it's going to be presented that way, though, because this is 2019's edition, which was in the height of the Trump presidency, the first one. Pursuit of Happiness, starring Will Smith, yeah. Life, Liberty, and Pursuit of Happiness. Was there a question after what did the Declaration do? Yeah, it was what are 2 rights in the Declaration of Independence? What are 2 rights in the Declaration of Independence? Right to bear arms, right to assembly. I don't know any of them. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read off the answer. Are we ready for the answer yet? Are we ready? Okay, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those are the 2 rights. Well, those are actually 3 rights, but you only have to list off 2 of them. I promise I can count. The right to roll up and smoke fat blunts. Can I get an amen? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I wish that was in the Constitution. It is in the Missouri Constitution, because Missouri knows what's up. What is freedom of religion? Question number 10. You see why I wanted to do this, Denver Burek? You see why I wanted to do this now? What is freedom of religion? Let's see, we've got to practice any religion, the right to believe in what you want until the government says so. Maybe. Can practice religion without being imprisoned, freedom to be religious or to not be religious, any religion is cool with us. Right to not be discriminated against because of religious beliefs, the ability to observe and practice your spiritual beliefs without government intervention. Okay. Got a lot of answers, so I'm going to go ahead and flip the card. Damn it. The answer is You can practice any religion or not practice a religion. So, if you have gotten all 10 questions correct so far, press 10 into your keyboard and hit enter. Put that in the chat. Let me see it. If you've gotten 9 questions correct, but here's what I want you to do. Rather than just typing the number, here's what I want you to do. You're going to have to retype it if you already typed it, but that's okay. Slow mode's off. I want you to type what your political affiliation is, and then the score you've gotten so far. We're going to do more cards, but I want to see where we're at so far, and I want to look at some of you guys' chat history to back up the numbers you're citing. Because it doesn't account for much if I can't check your work. So let's see. 6 or 7, Trump voter libertarian. I'm about 50-50 on Trump. Okay. So, Crow Terminator, were you here for all 10 questions, or were you here for, how many were you here for? Man, this document is full of a lot of promises. I know. No, I wasn't here for the first one, and unfortunately I didn't type for all of them because of slow mode and mobile keyboard. Okay. 6 or 7 Republican. Let's see. I didn't answer the first one, had to sub. Okay. Then I'm going to use you as an example. Not in a bad way. I'm just going to check your work real quick, and we'll go through, because you probably, or it sounds like you gave an honest accounting. You said 6 or 7, Trump voter libertarian, and you said you're 50-50 on Trump, which tells me that you're probably decently intelligent. I'm kidding. I'm throwing a little shade, but it's okay. It's okay. We got to learn to laugh at each other, y'all. We got to learn to laugh at each other, okay? So, let's see. So you said you couldn't answer. So what does the Constitution do? You said ensures our rights. I figured that ensuring rights was implied in the government structures. Okay, so what does the Constitution do? Sets up the government, defines the government, and protects basic rights of Americans. So ensures our rights. I mean, like, I feel like a USCIS officer would probably ding you for that one. I feel like they would probably ding you for that one, because I feel like they're looking for the specific answer of sets up and defines the government and protects basic rights of government, right? So protects basic rights of, that's the truth of what it does, protects basic rights of Americans, right? I think that they would want the more specific answer, so I'm afraid I might have to ding you for that one. But leaving those two aside, we'll go to, what is freedom of religion? Let's see. No, that is the one I just read. My bad. So 3. The idea of self-government is in the first 3 words of the Constitution. What are these words? So you answered. It doesn't. Weed peel. I think you were trying to say we the people. So I guess I can count that one. So, yeah. So you got 1 so far, based on what I'm reading here. And then what is freedom of religion? Goddamn, I gotta fucking not keep reading that one like a moron. Okay, so the 4th question was, what is an amendment? And I think an alteration. I think you must have been like using text-to-speech software or something, or maybe, I don't know. I don't know what caused these typos, but a change to the Constitution or an addition to the Constitution, I'm going to accept an alteration, because I feel like this is one of those examples of a question having superfluous language, but I'm also wondering if maybe either of these answers would be accepted. I'm going to count that one as your second point. So far you've got 2 out of 4, which is not bad. What is freedom of religion? I don't see. Oh, I guess I I guess I was just not reading up far enough. My bad. Okay. My bad, my bad, my bad. I apologize. So, what do we call the first 10 amendments to the Constitution? Number 5. Let's see. I don't see an answer to this one. I don't see an answer to this one. What do we call the first 10 amendments to the Constitution? I do not see a cow terminator answer to that question. I do not see one. Okay. What is one right or freedom from the First Amendment? I don't see an answer for that one either. Oh no. Yeah, see, I feel like, okay, so I'm not going to count those against you. What is your name? Cow Terminator? Yeah, no, I trust that you did. I'm realizing that I think there was an error in translation. I think some of what I was reading was, it's just an error in translation, but I think it's happening, number one, on my part, because I'm, like, trying to read all this with my fucking shitty-ass glasses, trying to lean up all close. And number two, because I don't always think in acronyms and shit. And so for the next 10 questions, we are going to change up the rules a little bit, and I'm going to ask that you guys please write your answers with your political affiliation in the answer in chat, right? Write your answer with your political affiliation in the chat and try to avoid acronyms just so I can be 100% sure what you're trying to say. And if I do want to check someone's work, I can go back and understand it clearly, right? Okay, so with that being said, we're going to go through another 10 questions from the Civics flashcards for the naturalization test from the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. So, what is the economic system in the United States? What is the economic system in the United States? I'll give you a hint. The answer makes me sad. Okay, we got capitalism, market capitalism, capitalist liberalism, capitalism, Republican, communism. Nice troll, Florida man. Capitalism, central individualist, okay. Carpal tunnelism. Yeah, carpal tunnelism. That's the truth of it, huh? Pokemon cards? I mean, you're not far off. Liberalism is a form of progressive, regulated market capitalism. Yeah, but doesn't liberalism also imply a whole bunch of, like, social things and shit like that? Like, I don't know. I feel like, you know, they're looking for a more specific answer. So I forgot to fucking read out my answer to this before I read it, but I'll tell you guys what the answer is right now. It's capitalism is the answer. Capitalist economy, market economy. Yep. So if you answered capitalist economy or market economy, by the way, we are refreshing scores at this point. We are refreshing scores. I announce we are refreshing scores. You are now reset to 0. Consider the first 10 cards a practice round. I want to see who got this one correct. If you answered capitalist economy or market economy, put 1. If you didn't, put 0. And please be honest. It will help me keep track. And remember to please put your political affiliation with the answer, if you can. Eat Nugget, I love you. You've been following all the rules. You are genuinely into this test, and I love it. Same with NC. Thank you, guys. Okay. Okay. All right. Alrighty. Alrighty. Good. 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 Looks like everybody's figured out the way it's working. All right. What is the rule of law? I'll be honest with you guys. I have no fucking idea. What is the rule of law? I mean, if you ask my anarchist ass, the rule of law is the threat of violence. It's the threat of the police knocking down your door. That's what I would say the rule of law is, but I'm sure that's not what's in the UCIS or the USCIS fucking civics flashcards for the naturalization test. Something tells me they've got a different slant. Yeah, way different slant. Way different. So what is the rule of law? I'm going to be honest with you guys. This one's a weird one. This one's a weird one. It almost feels like, okay, you know what? After we get answers, I'm going to go on a rant. Violence is the supreme authority from which all other authority is derived. That's it's funny. Starship Troopers says that, but it's like well-known anarchist theory. It's something that Derek Jensen talks about, something that fucking Tolstoy talked about, something that fucking bunch of different anarchist thinkers have touched on, whose names escape me in the moment. Can be put in jail for breaking the law. Okay, yeah, no, so it's an odd question. So here's the answer. The question is, what is the rule of law? The answer is, everyone must follow the law, leaders must obey the law, government must obey the law, no one is above the law. So I'm going to accept that if you said everyone must follow the law, or some variation of that, I'm going to trust in good faith that you probably assume that that includes leaders and shit. So if you said that, type 2. This is the second question, or I'm sorry, this is the 12th question, but this is the second question of this round. And it was, what is the rule of law? If you got it correct by saying everyone must follow the law or some variation thereof, I'm going to consider that correct. Please type a 2 in the chat. If you did not, please type a 1. If you were not here for the first one, then you should also type a 1 if you got it correct. Otherwise, type 0. Don't forget to put your political affiliation in your answer in order to keep better track of everything going on, you know, and hopefully have something productive come out of this weird little social experiment we're running here. And remember to like the stream if you haven't already. It's a great way to show YouTube that we need to have more people in here engaging this fun little experiment, this fun little exercise. 2, I think they should follow the law, but they don't. I get stuff in the house. What? Dude, I just totally fucking zoned out for a second. Why are you so petty lovey petty right now? Is your food bowl empty? It is. Go figure. It's the only reason you love me. Oh, shit. Okay. Anyway, You know, I had said that I was going to go on a rant about this particular question, and the more I sit and think about it, the more I wonder if that would be ill-advised. But I'll just say this much. You know, like, this is a stunning example of how the U.S. citizenship test actually sets immigrants up to be disappointed by America. Because if you listen to this immigration fact sheet or whatever, if you listen to this little flashcard, the Civics flashcard, you would think that everyone follows the law in America, that leaders must obey the law, that government must obey the law, that no one is above the law. And you would think that that standard is followed here in the United States, but it's just so often not. So seldom is that standard ever truly and fully applied. And it doesn't matter like what political lines either. Like, both sides of the political aisle engage in this kind of shit, this utterly corrupt behavior. Kind of ghoulish to think about the fact that we make people go through this process before being allowed to, take the naturalization test. Not just this process, but a bunch of exclusionary processes meant to, I don't know, weed out troublesome immigrants. I don't really know what the point is, but question number 13. Name one branch or part of the U.S. government. Sanely applied, we just have a broken system ruled by the rich. Well, that's the problem. If it's broken and ruled by the rich, it's not really being evenly applied now, is it? Executive. Can't expect the rich to follow the rules when they have full control over the rules and power. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how it works, right? That's why me and you are anarchists, right? You know? Because we get that, and people who aren't don't. Judicial system, executive. Okay, so let's see. Name one branch or part of the U.S. government. That's question number 13. Congress, legislative, president, executive, the courts, judicial. So yeah, it's got a bunch of different answers that it'll accept. I'm starting to see the pattern of how these questions work, and that's helping me too. So yeah, and it's got a picture of the U.S. Capitol, if you're interested. There you go. Beautiful fucking Capitol. I will say we do have some beautiful fucking architecture in our Capitol. Tax money well spent. No, I'm not kidding. I would much rather tax money be spent on extravagant building projects here in America that actually employ American workers and use American factories and materials and shit than spend that tax money on the military. I would spend every last dime of the military's budget on rebuilding all of the state capitals in the United States before I would ever send another bomb to Israel. I can tell you that much. So, what stops one branch of government from becoming too powerful? Oh, and by the way, if you've gotten, that was question number 13 we just read off a second ago. Not a second ago, but a minute ago. So if you got 3 questions right so far, type 3, and your political affiliation. If you've gotten 2 questions right so far, write 2 in your political affiliation, and so on and so forth. Let's make sure we're keeping track of our answers and trying our best to remain as honest as we can. Excuse me. God damn. Okay. What stops one branch of government from becoming too powerful? Okay. What stops one branch of government from becoming too powerful? Okay. What stops one branch of government from becoming too powerful? Make sure you guys hit that like button if you haven't hit it already, by the way. The more people, the merrier on a question and answer kind of stream like this, you know? Once again, we are reading the Civics flashcards for the naturalization test from the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, the USCIS, in other words. And yeah, we're trying to see just how many answers we can all get, and we're trying to see if there's any kind of trend among people's political affiliations. Like, are socialists more aware of civics? Are Republicans more aware of civics? Are libertarians more aware of civics? Are independents more aware of civics? Let's just see. Let's see. So far, it doesn't seem so hard. You can get this from Google searches. Well, I'm hoping that people don't answer with Google searches, and I think so far people have been being pretty good faith about it. Checks and balances. Yep, that's one answer. I see that one. Lies and deception. I'm not giving you mod oil. You can shut the fuck up about it. The more esoteric political ideologies seem to know the most. I tend to agree, but that's what I'm trying to see here. Checks and balances. I think it's equally rude for you to continuously ask for mod rather than participate in good faith in the discussion we're having here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read off the answer. We got checks and balances or separation of powers. If you answered either one of those, you can type 4 if you've gotten that one and all the other ones correct. Type 3 if you got that one and some of the other ones correct, or if you weren't here for one of them. Type 2 if you got that one and one other one correct, but weren't there for one or two of them, or got them incorrect, so on and so forth. And remember to put your political affiliation with your answer. As long as you're putting it with some of your answers, honestly, I can check your work at the end of this round, but it makes it immensely easier if you make that answer more clear, you know? It just helps me. It helps me out. I'm a retarded stoner from Mississippi. Help me out, please. Speaking of helping me out, you can help me out immensely by sending a super chat if you enjoy what we're doing here. If you're liking this weird little immigration themed trivia night, or really, I guess it's not immigration themed, I guess it's civics themed. But the point of it is to prove a point about immigration rhetoric. But we'll see, we'll see what happens. Okay, so question 15. Who is in charge of the executive branch? Who is in charge of the executive branch? Okay, the answer is the president. So if you answered anything basically like that, I'm going to accept that as the answer. And here's the White House in Washington, D.C. I actually think that's a really nice picture of the White House, too. That's just a really beautiful picture. You can tell it's on a sun-dappled southern afternoon, If you got that one correct, but you haven't been here for the other ones, i.e. cockatoo and sunglasses, I heard you answer that one correctly, but I know you weren't here for the other one, so you will type 1. But if you were here for all the other ones and you've gotten them all right so far, type 5. Otherwise, type however many you got correct or were here for and got correct. And don't count any you weren't here for or that you got incorrect. Type that answer out in the chat with your political affiliation, and I will continue with question 16 here in a moment. Okay. Question number 16. Who makes federal laws? This ain't no cigarette, although I do be smoking cigarettes sometimes. I will be real with you guys. If I run out of vape, if my vape runs out of juice completely, I will switch to cigarettes to like get the nicotine addiction. So we've got Congress. Congress makes the laws. Legislative branch, the House of Legislative branch, the House of Representatives. Congress. Don't smoke cigarettes. Eat them. Fuck you. You're dumb as shit. No, I'm kidding. I love you. Florida man, it's an edit I make to changing photos of people right now. Oh, nice. That's fucking cool. I love that. That's dope. Congress. I will con your grass. Denver. You dirty, dirty dog. So, who makes federal laws? The answer to this question is Congress, Senate and House of Representatives, U.S. or national legislature. So, if you answered any of those things, you got that question. You got that question correct, and you can count your answer as 6 of 6 if you have gotten 6 of 6 correct. Otherwise, count it as 6 of however many you've gotten correct, or whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. However many you've gotten correct out of 6, because that's what number this question is. No, you got it correct, Tyson. The immigration officer would count that as correct. Okay, cool. The House of Representatives or the House of Senators? Yeah, either way. You got it correct if you answered either one of those. Okay. Question number 17. What are the 2 parts of the U.S. Congress? I'll say that question again. What are the 2 parts of the U.S. Congress? Train coming. Man, I'm wild about that shit. It is amazing to me how I can fucking hear that shit from so far off. So, the last question number 17, was what are the 2 parts of the U.S. Congress? And the answer is the Senate and House of Representatives. So, if you said that or something to that effect, please type 7 out of 7. If you got that one correct but missed one, type 7, or type 6 out of 7. And so on and so forth. And remember to include your political affiliation as part of the answer. This will bring us to question number 18. Now, of course, at this point, there are only going to be 18, 19, 20. There'll be 3 questions, right, including this one I'm about to read off. And we will go through, and I will ask for a volunteer to check their work. Okay? I didn't answer, but I meant to post it. Well, go ahead and answer. Yeah, I'll count it. What were you going to post? If you were cockatoo, I trust you to be honest. If you were going to post that, I will count it. If that was the answer you were going to post. Because I know you've, I've known you in the chats for a long time. You seem like a really cool cat. I trust that you like this fucking weird exercise enough to participate in good faith. If you say you would have answered, I will count it. Okay. Okay. So, how many senators are there? Question number 18. How many U.S. senators are there? How many U.S. senators are there? How many people are in the Senate? How many U.S. senators are there? How many people are in the U.S. Senate? How many fucking senators are there? How many people are in the U.S. Senate? How many fucking senators are there? How many people are in the Senate? How many people are in the U.S. Senate? How many people are in the Senate? I just passed the GED without studying in the test government. Ah, nice. You'll probably get a lot of these right then. If it asks how many representatives there are, I'm screwed, but I know there's 100 senators. I can't believe I got that right. You never know, right? Best you can do is try. 100 senators, that's, let's see, Florida man, it's 435 in the House of Rep. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, are we ready? Are we ready? Yeah, are we ready for the next question? It was, how many U.S. senators are there? How many U.S. senators are there? How many people are in the Senate? How many U.S. senators are there? Okay, so the answer is 100. If you answered anything else, not only are you failing this test instantly, but you're also a moron. I'm sorry. That's one of the most basic civics questions. Like, somebody accused this test of being middle school level earlier, and I was like, yeah, I mean, there are some questions I could see like an average middle schooler fucking failing, right? I could totally see that, but like, senator, dude, you better fucking know that there's 100 people in the U.S. Senate. That's like one of the most basic civics questions out there. Okay, it changes based on how big a state is. Alaska having 17 representatives is ludicrous. I mean, yeah, kinda, if you think about it. Because I know there gotta be some of those fucking senators and shit. They're not senators, I'm sorry, but there's gotta be some of those representatives that gotta be getting voted in by, like, what, 250 people? Because if you're talking about like the North Slope, or you're talking about like the Brooks Range, you're talking about like the northern kind of half of Alaska, fucking Juneau and north, you're talking about a fucking like wasteland of nobody. There just ain't a lot of people up that way. So how many fucking people are in some of these people's representative districts? Yeah, the law question was like complicated, but this one is like fucking stupid. Okay, so if you got that one correct, type 8 out of 8. If you got that one correct, but you didn't get another one correct, type 7 out of 8. Otherwise, just type out however many you got correct out of 8, because that was question number 18. And we will move right along to, we elect a U.S. Senator for how many years? And this is question number 19. We elect a U.S. Senator for how many years? How many U.S. senators are there? We elect a senator for how many years? We elect a senator for how many years? We elect a senator for how many years? I'm gonna make every question a song. It's gonna make it real interesting. Got 4 to 2 years. What? Let's see. We got 4. No idea. 4. 2 to 4. Okay, I'm just gonna fucking tell you guys right now, not a goddamn one of you guys got this correct. I don't want to see a single one of you claiming this as one of your points. Okay? 6. A U.S. senator is elected for 6 years. I want to see one of you claiming that one. Now, state senators, on the other hand, oftentimes do serve 4-year terms, but U.S. senators serve 6-year terms. I believe House reps serve 4-year terms, but I may be wrong on that. It was 6, wasn't it? Yep. House reps serve 2 years? Well, looky there. I don't know shit either, y'all. Okay, this is the last question for this round. We got, who is one of your state's U.S. senators now? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. This is an interesting one. Okay, so this one's an interesting one. So who is one of your U.S. senators now? So what I'm going to ask you guys to do is type the state you're from and one of your U.S. senators, or type a state you know of and one of the U.S. senators there. Okay? Type that as your answer. What is one of your state senators now? And I'm current enough on my fucking current events knowledge that I can probably vet your answers. If not, one of my mods I trust can do that. This is a doxing question. It's not, though. It's not doxing to reveal what state you're in, I don't think, right? At least, I don't know, dude. I guess it kind of, is it? Nah, dude. Nah, I feel bad now. Should I skip this one? Should I skip this one? I'll skip this one if you guys don't feel comfortable answering it, dude. But I didn't think about it like that. I'm just, like, because I'm fucking so open about the fact that I'm from Mississippi, I don't, you know. I'm joking. Oh, okay, cool. I'm fucking autistic as shit. I don't always catch that shit. I would say I catch it like 50-50. Maybe if you live in Wyoming where there's 3 people. Dude, yeah. There's a war on in the Middle East. Millions of people down on their knees because they're begging and pleading for mercy. Seems like Israel just can't seem to make peace. So we tore down and scrapped Cheyenne, built a town called New Jerusalem, and they don't need no M1 tanks because the U.S. military's got them safe. There's no Hamas, no atom bombs, just the smell of pie and soccer moms. You can say it was wrong, but we stay knowing that all the Jews are happy roaming in what used to be Wyoming. You guys are always begging me for an original. There you go. That's a Phoebe original. And yes, the song is about exactly what you think. Moving Israel to Wyoming. Okay. So, I need a volunteer. I need a volunteer at this point to let me go through and check their work. Okay, NC, I'll do it because you've been doing pretty good with this. Let's see, channel activity. All right, alrighty. So let's see here. Okay. So let's see here. We'll have to go back to question 11. Okay. Let's see here. Sometimes I don't think that this gets all, sometimes I don't think that this captures every fucking message, but let's see here. Okay, so what is the economic system in the United States? I'm trying to figure out where that was. Okay, so cool. There we go. Okay, so for what is the economic system in the United States, you answered capitalism, and then you reported your answer as one Republican, so you did correct, and you correctly reported, so 1 point there. Number 2, or 12 effectively, is what is the rule of law? You said can be put in jail for breaking the law, and the real answer was everyone must follow the law, leaders must obey the law, government must obey the law, no one's above the law. And so you correctly reported your answer as an incorrect answer. So I'm going to assume that you're probably going to be correctly reporting throughout this at this point. Let's see. Name one branch or part of the government. You got that one correct. So yeah, you correctly reported your answer, or your score rather, as 2 as a Republican. Name one branch or part of the government. Yeah, no, I already read that one. So what stops one branch of government from becoming too powerful? Checks and balances. You got that one correctly. You got that one correct, I should say. Sorry. President of USA was the answer to who is in charge of the executive branch. Yes, that was correct. Let's see. Who makes federal laws? A bill voted by Congress. It passes, then it is law. So yeah, you basically said that. The answer was Congress or Senate and House or the legislature. So yeah, I'm going to count that as a correct answer. Yeah, so 6, no, 5, yeah. What are 2 parts of the U.S. Congress? So Senate and the House of Representatives. So there we go. Okay, that was correct, and you correctly reported it. How many U.S. senators are there? You got the most basic question on here correct. Yeah. 7, yep. We elect a U.S. senator for how many years? And you correctly reported your answer as being incorrect, because you, like everybody else, thought that it was 4 years, which, hey, you know, I can't fault you, because, like I said, most states, it is 4 years. And then, what is one of your U.S. senators now? Was, Skip, because I don't know it. So, yeah, you got 7 out of 10. You, my friend, I'm happy to tell you, you are a Republican, but you would nonetheless, you would pass the immigration test. So you know what? You, if anything, I don't think like your one example disproves my thesis, but I will say that I'm kind of shocked by the outcome a little bit, because like a lot of times I do feel like a lot of anti-immigration rhetoric comes from a place of ignorance. I feel like a lot of times it comes from, and I still, you know, like I said, nothing has like fundamentally changed about the way I feel about the issue, but it has given me a little bit of insight into maybe people aren't as uneducated about these sorts of things as I would have preconceived, you know? Um, it's an interesting, you know, little experiment, right? But ultimately, I do wonder why so many people place so much value on this test. And that was another thing I kind of wanted to, I don't know, maybe talk about in the wake of going through this with you guys, or at least a few of these. I don't intend to go through the whole test with y'all. I don't think y'all would stick around for that, frankly. And I wouldn't blame you. But, you know, I kind of wanted to talk about, like, what the implications of our placing so much value on someone knowing this knowledge before we give them the right to permanently live here, when all of the knowledge that we're going through here is stuff that you learn, or that you would learn within the first 2 or 3 years of living here, right? If somebody comes over here and they establish a life here and they start working and renting a home or whatever, they're going to figure out pretty quickly that senators have 6-year terms. Well, maybe they won't figure that one out, because apparently none of you guys did either. But they're going to figure out pretty quickly that the president is the head of the executive branch, which is one of the 3 delineated powers of government. That, like, it's one of the 3 branches that keeps the other two branches in check, and they're the ones that determine how laws are executed, basically, more or less. They're the ones who do the actual, like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain the nature of the executive branch because, like the textbook answer is the executive branch is responsible for enforcing the laws. But what does that actually mean? Because when it actually comes to prosecuting violations of the law on a mass level, I mean, if it goes, how the fuck is the executive branch at the head of enforcement? I've never understood that, but whatever. I think that must be like a lapse in my knowledge or like some kind of weird civics gap. Let's see. Do I get ice cream for winning? Let's see. Please don't deport me. I won't. Don't worry, NC. You would pass the immigration test. That's what I was saying. You would pass the immigration test. So let's see. Luke also, let's see. Okay, do you guys still want to have some of me check your work? Because I will if you want me. I will. Yeet Nugget says they're winning, so let's look at their fucking channel activity. Okay. So, let's see here. I'm going to check Yeet's work, because Yeet is pretty confident about their having won. And that's a bold claim, so I'm checking their work. Okay. You're in elementary school again, god damn it. Okay. Question 11. Number 1 in the renewed round was, what is the economic system in the United States? You answered capitalism, central individual. Okay, so you got that one right. Okay. What is the rule of law? I think it has something to do with following rules set by both federal and state level enforcements. Following rules set by I feel like that's too vague an answer to qualify. You counted it, but I don't know that I want to count it because, see, here's the fucking problem is when I look at the shit, it says, the question is, what's the rule of law? The answer is, everyone must follow the law, leaders must obey the law, government must obey the law, no one is above the law, right? So either one of those answers would be correct, but what you said was it has something to do with following rules set by both federal and state level enforcements. That doesn't, like, following rules, I mean, that's not, I can't, you see what I mean? I don't think I can count that. I don't think I can count that. This might be causing mutiny in the chat, but I don't think I can count that. I'm sorry. Number 13 was name one branch or part of the government. Executive. Okay, you got that one correct. You say 3 out of 3. I say 2 out of 3. I think you got that one wrong. That one that we talked about already. Have we gone to question 14? I had to go tab in and out. I don't know if we had or not yet. Let's see here. Question 14 was, what stops one branch of government from becoming too powerful? Let's see. I've gotten basically every question right. I'm not Maga, but I'm right-leaning. Basically, maybe. Honestly, immigration has one answer only. There's a process. Make it easier, make it safe for good people to come over. Well, we agree there, you nugget. I hope you know that. We totally agree there. Hey, I was really behind on the stream. President. Okay, so I'm going to say that you've gotten 2 out of 4 correct so far because I think you missed one, which is fine. You weren't here for one, but I also can't count it as correct. Who is in charge of the executive branch? President. Okay, so you got that one correct. So 3 out of 5. Who is one senator? I made a guess. Okay. Let's see here. So one of your state's senators. I don't see the answer. 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 Oh, wait. I'm reading the wrong damn question because I'm a moron. That would explain why I don't see the fucking answer, because I'm an idiot. Who makes federal laws? Congress makes the laws and then votes on it. Yeah, you got that one correct. So, 5 out of 6, I would say. So for no, 4 out of 6. 4 out of 6. Because I didn't see the answer to the one question. You said you typed it, but I didn't see it. So 4 out of 6. Then, what are the 2 parts of the U.S. Congress? House of Representatives, Senate. You got that one correct. So 5 out of 7. How many U.S. senators are there? Most basic question in the fucking booklet. 100. Of course, you got that one right. So 6 out of 8. We elect a U.S. senator for how many years? I don't. 4 years. No, if you got that one wrong. So 6 out of 9. Who is one of your state's senators now? Raphael Warnock, Georgia. Yep. 7 out of 10. Okay, so you would pass the immigration test as well. I dispute the idea that you won, but I will say that you might have gotten you're either tying with the other right-leaning person that I checked the work of, or you are just above them in your points. Either way, both of you guys have passed the U.S. citizenship test, basically. Both of you guys can now say that you were interviewed by a queer trans streamer as to the verisimilitude of your civics knowledge, and you got 7 out of 10 questions correct. If you want to brag about that, you now can. No, but this was an interesting exercise, no? Was this not an interesting exercise? Check me. I'll check one more person if we can get to 50 likes, because that's a lot of fucking questions to go through again. My hand's starting to cramp up. You're going hard on munchies right now? Nice. I listened to a book on tape with these questions a couple months ago. This was fun. Thanks. No, of course. Yeah, this was fun. This was genuinely interesting. And, I will admit, did not have the outcome I was expecting. Both of the right-leaning people that I checked the work of so far have been, they answered correctly for the most part. There were a couple of questions they might have missed. Sorry about that. That may have been just missed. But anyway, yeah. I got 9 out of 10, 1920s total, so I'm so smart. I mean, surprised me, but that's because you really are whip smart. I mean, like, you are one of my favorite people to have commenting in here, because you on your shit. What can I say? Can you check me, please? If we can get to 50 likes, if you haven't liked the stream already, like, because that's what I'm predicating. Checking any more fucking people's progress, you gotta like the stream. Check Luke, I will, but someone needs to like. Okay, all right, I'll do it. I see it now. Okay, check Luke, I will do it. Okay. Luke, let's see what you got. Let's see here. So, what is the economic system in the United States? Capitalist economy, market economy. Let's see. You said mixed economy. You counted that as a 0, but Like, I don't know. Like, here's the thing. This is one of those weird questions. I guess I'm going to count you as having reported that correctly because you didn't provide the answer the card is looking for, but it's one of those fucked up situations where I think you did describe the reality of the situation better than the card does. Because the truth of the situation is that we do have a mixed economy here in the United States. There is a little bit of socialized something, you know. There's a little bit, right? There's a little bit of social safety net here in the United States. So it is a mixed economy, technically. It's heavily capitalist, heavily capitalist. It's a heavy market economy, but it's not exclusively that. It's not just that. So, what is the rule of law? Let's see. Codifies the core values of the people. No, you didn't get that one correct. You definitely didn't get that one correct. So, none too far. Name one branch or part of the United States government. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the answer. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. So I'm seeing none, maybe one. Let's see. You did get the checks and balances correct. You got one so far with checks and balances. And then who's in charge of the executive branch? I don't see an answer for that one. I don't see an answer for that one. I don't see an answer for that one. Who makes federal laws? Congress. So, okay, you got that one. So you got two so far. Federal laws. Okay. What are the two parts of the U.S. Congress? Senate and the House. You got that one correct. So you got 3 so far. 3 out of 7. Because 3 out of 7's not bad. How many U.S. senators are there? 100. You got that one right. So 3. We elect a U.S. senator for how many years? 6. You got that one right. You were the only person who got that one right. So you got like 4 so far. What is one of your state senators? John Cornyn, Texas. Okay. So you got, I would say you got 5 out of 20. You, my friend, failed the immigration test. I don't know if you missed some of the questions because you weren't here, or if you just, like, didn't provide an answer, or what. But you definitely counted some answers correct that you did not provide an answer for, at least not according to your channel activity. Phoebe, you're like a teacher, and we are like your little pupils. Yeah, basically. At least on this stream. Can I go to the toilet? As long as you grab a hall pass from beside the door, you'll need it if you get stopped. You're gonna smoke cigarettes in the bathroom? Shh, you're not supposed to tell me that. Fucking snitch. Why don't you just say you're a Fed and get over with it? Get it over with, I mean. Sorry. Dude, okay. Fucking, now that we've gotten through the immigration test portion of this stream, do we want to fucking talk about something else for just a second? Like, okay, in places where it is legal to be high, right? In places where it is both legal to be high, right, and where there's a medical program, can you justifiably be high in certain positions of public service? Like, could you conceivably have, let's say, like, do you think how many? Okay, college professors is one thing. I think a lot of them are probably stoned. We're talking high school teachers, okay? Let's say you live in a state like Missouri, right? Which has got recreational weed, it's got a robust medical program, and it's got a bunch of rednecks that don't give a fuck. How many fucking high teachers do you think are fucking open that bitch now? You know? I bet there's tons. I bet there's loads of them. I don't understand why kids don't just be using Zins and other nicotine pouches. Like, why not just pop a Zin and go? Because it's not about that, Tyson. It's about the fucking. I think for a lot of them, it's about the coolness factor. I think for some of them, it's a social thing. I think for some of them, it's like just like the like hand to mouth kind of thing. I don't know how to put it. Like oral fixation or whatever. But I don't know. It's a good question, right? If it was just the nicotine addiction, you'd think they would find some really discreet way to do it. But no. They choose one of the most suspicious ways to do it. Like you're a school janitor, you go to clean a bathroom, and like as you're about to go in there, some kid leaves, and you go and you do your like, anybody else in here? And then you close it off, and then suddenly the smell like strawberries hits you, and you're like, well, that's out of place in one of these bathrooms. But then you remember it's 2025, and that's not out of place at all. That kids be vaping now, and like you like toss up in your head, like, do I want to like go back out there and track that kid down and be like fucking follow him to the classroom that he goes into and be like, hey, that kid that just came in, fucking, that kid was just vaping in the fucking bathroom. And you're like, God, that's gonna be like 30 minutes worth of fucking bullshit at least. And you're like, fuck it. Whatever. My school had all gender bathrooms that were single. Like, it was a single toilet that you could lock the door. I would sit there, skip class, and smoke weed. They didn't have a smoke alarm in it. Dumbest idea school's ever had. I mean, I think that idea is actually good in principle, Tyson, but it should obviously have a fucking smoke detector in it and shit. Like, I think single gender bathrooms should be more common. I think that there should be more single gender bathrooms where you're not, or not single gender, but you know what I mean, like single person bathrooms, single person omni-gender, that like just one fucking person bathrooms, basically. Oh man, I'm a big fucking proponent of that idea. It's kind of hard to get people on board with it because a lot of people are just inherently resistant to the idea because they think it's going to require a lot of like modification of their current construction and shit. And I really don't think it would. I think that you could have like the bathrooms that you have right now, you could just convert them into these little fucking setups. You would have less accommodations in both bathrooms, but you would have more accommodations, if you think about it, available to anyone at any given time. Like, you would have less accommodations per big walk-in unit, but you'd have more accommodations for more people system-wide. Bathroom math. Eight years of being like, what are we going to do about trans bathrooms? Yeah, exactly. This is the kind of weird shit that we get out of the endless fucking debate as to what bathrooms trans women should be allowed to use. Trans people in general, really, but trans women seem to be a particular focus of the right wing lately. And, like the shit that this debate generates is as plain as the discussion we're having right now as to what kind of bathrooms we should have in order to facilitate the most people being able to use the fucking bathroom and still suit everybody's little fucking sensitive sensibilities as to what a bathroom should be and who should be allowed to go in one. Blacklark sent $5. Good night, PB. Fun stream. Chat's been getting better. Yeah, no, it definitely has. Thank you for the $5. I appreciate it a lot. That's really kind of you. Yeah, no, it's been a fun. Oh my God, what did I do? What did I do? No. What am I doing? What am I doing? Holy shit! What did I do? I'm a moron. I'm so fucking retarded, dude. I fucking did that and then I couldn't figure out how to turn it off. Now you see why I wear the muumuu? I really am just a grandma. I'm just checking your genitals before you use the bathroom. I wouldn't want you making me uncomfortable. Yeah, it's like, what the fuck is this society, dude? Man. The bathroom bills, they are exploding based on rhetoric. I don't know. I couldn't make a verse fast enough. I'm an idiot. Based on rhetoric, the right's been floating. They're old enough to kill, but it doesn't matter because they're trans, they won't take them anyway. Ah, fuck. I know it's not good to itch your ear like that, but fuck. Does it fucking feel good sometimes, you know? Fucking feels good sometimes. We're in a soft generation. I would argue that our society's been trending softer for a while. There have been people complaining about the softness of people since like the 60s. I would say the 60s was the first time you heard people bitching in the media or in politics sometimes about people being weak. People are weak and soft now. And honestly, you started to even see people I'll be honest with you guys. This is one of those things where the more you think about it, the more you think about its roots, the farther you can trace it back. Case in point, Leo Strauss. Leo Strauss in the 1940s and 50s was teaching at the University of Chicago and was basically preaching a version of the idea that human beings are just weak little animals, right? At least under current conditions. And there were people complaining that the generation of people being raised up in the midst of TV and movies and pop culture, and they didn't understand the trials and tribulations of the Great Depression and the World War II era and all this shit, right? And people were complaining about the weakness of that generation in the 1960s. This would have been the baby boomers. And people at the very ass end of the greatest generation, or yeah, I think the greatest generation. That's the parents of the boomers, right? Or is that the silent generation? I fucking forget. Who remembers Casey Kasem? Casey Kasem? I don't know that name. It sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't know it. I don't know, man. I miss being able to call someone a mean word in a Call of Duty lobby and not get banned for the rest of the day. I mean, I kind of miss that era too, but I don't know, dude. It's one of those things where I think the conversation is multifaceted and has a lot of different layers to it. On the one hand, when it comes to platforms that are about getting people to express their opinions, that are expressly about that, or that have that as a part of their feature, right? Like YouTube. I think that you should be able to say whatever the fuck you want, and I don't think you should be able to get banned for it, more or less. I don't think you should be able to do calls for violence or anything like that, doxing people. I think that should be banned, anything like that. But short of that, short of yelling fire in a crowded theater, I think you should be able to say whatever the fuck you want. Slurs, no slurs, cuss words, whatever. Let people speak their minds, right? But when it comes to places where people are meant to socialize, or where they're meant to socialize about something that's not meant to be about that, I kind of think there might be some utility in getting people who just can't help but take it to that place, maybe to not do it. I don't know. Do you see why there might be some utility in that? I don't know how I feel about it. Because on the one hand, I am kind of a free speech absolutist, but on the other hand, it does kind of suck when you get into you probably want to drop a mean word every now and again in a Call of Duty lobby. But think about all the times when you join a Call of Duty lobby and it's just like a fucking screamer, you know? Think about when it's all the times when it's an 11-year-old just screaming the N-word over and over and over again, you know? Because they can. Or think about when that was a thing, you know? Remember back to when that was a thing. I got banned on Marvel Rivals. Yeah, well, that's the kind of thing that I agree. I think you are bringing up a point that I didn't mention, but up so that I can focus on it for a second. It is true that video games have gotten way more restrictive than I think they need to be with chats and with player interaction. And there are a few exceptions to this. Ark Survival Evolved is one. I don't know how Ark 2 is. I don't know if it's been released yet or whatever, and I don't know how it's doing or anything like that, but excuse me. There are a few games that still let you have like some interaction and shit, but for the most part, a lot of games have kind of neutered that to the greatest extent that they can, and um, yeah. So, and I think that that's bad because it discourages socialization in general, and I think that it is something that was an outgrowth of this desire to kind of clean things up on these chats and make them more readable and functional for everybody. But I think one of the kind of like casualties of that has been, I don't know, the ability to razz people in chat and get their fucking dander up, the ability to argue with people in chat when you're not just being like belligerent in the way I was describing earlier, um, and even sometimes the ability to just have regular conversations. Because if somebody gets miffed off something you said, a lot of these games nowadays are programmed to just fucking boot you off just on the strength of some reports, just that alone, and they'll boot you off. Now, you know, who knows? Maybe that's something that these companies will start to like get on top of and change, but it is something worth talking about as of right now. I remember when I was a kid on Roblox and everyone used kid as an insult, and it was so confusing to me because it's like, but like it's still confusing to me if you're an adult calling someone a kid as an insult on a kid's game. You're weird. Oh yeah, no, dude, I 100% agree. No, I do think that there's room for an adult calling another person, even an adult, a kid, um, on a platform like this or in real life or something like that. Like if somebody Especially if you're older than somebody. If you're older than somebody that is going off on some, I saw a meme about it on the Deep Fat Fried subreddit. If you're some dumbass kid going off on somebody that's like 5 years older than you about some shit, or fuck it, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, happens to all kinds of people, right? I think that there is a valid place for somebody to say, look, kid, I know you think you fucking have so much knowledge on this shit because you read some shit once. But I was not 5 years old when Donald Trump ran the first time. I was fucking 17. And I voted in the election that he ran in the first time. You know? What the fuck is Roblox? I don't fucking pretend to know. Apparently, I think it's like some kind of platform that lets you like build and upload your own games to it and you can play other people's, but I really don't understand fuck all about it. I tried to get into it when I was a kid. It's a really old service. We looked it up the other day and it was founded in like 2006. But it's one of those weird services that for some fucking reason, right? Minecraft took off almost immediately after it was released. Minecraft was like a very fucking quick kind of thing. It took off super fucking quick. It was like on the market for a couple of years and then started to take off, you know? Um, but Roblox was not that way. And they used to be compared. Now, I never figured out exactly why, but they used to be compared on some level. But Roblox is like fucking 20 years old. And for some reason, in like 2020, maybe 2019, it experienced like a giant surge of usership. I really don't know. Dude, I wonder if there's a documentary about it or something. Like, I wonder if there's somebody who's actually gone through the history of this weird fucking program, this weird community that intermixes kids and adults on like a. I know Cappy was saying, or Florida Man, sorry. I know Florida Man was saying that we shouldn't ban Roblox from adults, and I agree. We should separate adults and kids on Roblox. They should have their own separate and unique versions. And the adults one should require fucking identity verification. And the fucking I don't know. I don't know how you would do it, honestly. Like, I hesitate to think of how you would actually enforce this system and make sure that kids can't just fucking fake out some shit. But I guess you could have a system where if someone wants to sign up for the kids' version of Roblox, they have to give their parents' email in addition to their own email. They have to give their parents' email, and their parents get emailed a little link that lets them upload their picture ID, tying their kid's account to them, you know, and ensuring that their kid is uh, the age that they say they are and all that shit, right? But then how do you prevent that parent from using the kid's Roblox account? I don't know. Oh yeah, exactly, Florida. Exactly, Florida, man. Kids aren't usually well. That's the thing. It's like sometimes kids will try to interact with adult spaces. You have to come at it from both angles. Because I remember being a kid and I was trying to be in on adult spaces. I remember being a kid, and I, for one, was trying my hardest to be in on adult spaces, even when I wasn't wanted, needed, or desired. So it's just something you got to be, you know, cognizant of. Adults liking kids things should not be normalized. I think the problem comes in where it's like, where do you define a kids thing, right? It's like, I think some things are obvious as children's things, but then there's other things where I'm like, eh. Like, for example, the Zelda games. I think the Zelda games are truly everybody things. I think that you can get into a Zelda game whether you're 5 or 55. I think it can be like it's in fact I think Zelda games get more engaging the older you get, you know? And it's beautiful like that because they're super engaging when you're a kid, but you can't do that much with them. And the older you get, the more you can, the more you see, the more you think about, the more you imagine, the more you think about and see, and it's just beautiful. It's just and Nintendo has captured it perfectly, right? And I would argue that they're an everybody kind of thing. And what about animation too? Like, there's plenty of animation that I think I can see why it would appeal to both adults and someone who's younger. Like Studio Ghibli movies, you know, a lot of Studio Ghibli movies perfectly suitable for kids, babies, you know, like perfectly fucking suitable for babies, toddlers, kids, all ages, and they're really fun and interesting for adults to watch too. They've got beautiful scenery, interesting themes, interesting dialogue, etc. So why not? Cartoons are made for kids and also for adults. It's easy to tell which. Well, what about ones that are made for everybody? What about ones that are made for everybody? Well, personally, I don't really care if someone watches a kid's cartoon when they're an adult. I do think it's a sign of infantilization. I agree, kind of, that that shouldn't be normalized to some degree. To some degree, like I'm a parent, I'm occasionally gonna watch some cartoons my kid is watching, but number one, I don't have the TV on all day with him, you know. And number two, I'm not like wrapped with attention to the fucking kids cartoon that's on, you know. I might be like paying enough attention to grasp the plot. Like I'm letting it entertain my mind if I've got nothing better going on, you know, and I'm sitting there feeding him or something like that, you know. But I'm not like paying super close attention and thinking deeply about the implications of the characters and things like that, you know. And when uh, you know, when he's asleep or it's, you know, like TV time is over, the fucking, you know, power button is pressed, and then cartoon time is over. And I don't miss my time with Cartoon Town, you know? Like a great example of an everybody kind of game, you know? I think Zelda is always going to be the best example of one, but Minecraft is another example of one. It might even be a better example, I don't know. Fortnite is kind of an example of one, but honestly, I don't think kids should be playing Fortnite. I'm just going to say it. Hot take, kids shouldn't be playing Fortnite. You know why? Because it encourages those stupid fucking dances. And every kid thinks their fucking dance is the coolest shit in the fucking world. As soon as they get a cell phone, they're trying to record it and they're trying to do it in public. And then they're trying to do it in public at fucking inappropriate times. And they just think they're the coolest fucking shit ever. They don't know how to act. And Fortnite is the fucking reason. Ban kids from Fortnite. Ban kids from Fortnite. SpongeBob was never dirty. Adults can appreciate the surrealism, though. Oh yeah, there's an element of surrealism that goes into a lot of SpongeBob episodes. Honestly, there's also like there's some honestly some commentaries on adult life that make good frameworks for kids television, but that, I mean, honestly, I know that I'm probably gonna get like, okay, I'm just gonna say this much. If Paul catches this stream, I'm gonna get made fun of for this take, but I'm just gonna say it. I don't watch SpongeBob as an adult. I don't have cable for one, and number two, I don't feel particularly allured by the pull of Bikini Bottom, you know? But I will say this much. I remember from watching it as a teenager and becoming more aware of life and shit like that, you know, the adult world. I remember from the last couple of years where I watched that show, realizing how much of that show is meant to appeal. And I've had conversations with my parents about this as well, my mom in particular, and she always said that it was one of her favorite shows for us to have on because it had a lot of plot lines that were meant to that have broad appeal, right? The like plot lines where it was like fundamentally a commentary on adult life in some way, but it made a good framework for kids TV too, um, and they executed it really well. And there was also like that element of surrealism, like you were just talking about. There was the fact that there were some like active, ongoing fucking commentaries on adult life going on in that show that kids don't necessarily pick up in that way, but maybe they do. Like Squidward, for example. Squidward is a commentary on being a burned out service employee that feels like they were destined for a whole lot more, but is bitter because they didn't achieve that. They feel like they've been trying their whole life and they never achieved that, and they've watched other people achieve that, and they're really bitter about the fact that they haven't gone that way, and they really wish they didn't have to work their job, but they do. And so they're not that nice to people about it. They're good at their job, but they're not great, you know? Just burned out. And that's Squidward. Squidward is a character who is funny and interesting and a good foil, um, if you're watching from the perspective of a child. But if you're watching from the perspective of an adult, he becomes a sympathetic character. He goes from being the foil to being the unsung hero of the series, you know? Parents banned their kids from watching Bob back in the day because it was annoying. Simple as that. That's valid. It's fine to like SpongeBob, but if you're 23 years old plus and the only worldly references you can make in conversation is to a cartoon made for 7-year-olds, that's a problem. I tend to agree, Riley. I mean, you notice, guys, I've been streaming for almost a year now. This might be the first conversation in my entire fucking streaming career that I've ever had about SpongeBob. You know what I mean? It's not it's not even a tertiary source of reference for me because I can think of so many other fucking things to pull out of my hat, right? And I'm not even that much of a referencer. Like, I'm not that referential a person anyway, honestly. I tend to be referencing, like, historical shit. Generally was wild to me when he showed me the Gritty song. My jaw dropped and I showed my girlfriend immediately. I mean, shit, young blood, young boys, fire. Like, you gotta wait. What are you talking about, Tyson? I don't know what Tyson is on about, but right on. We're sorry that happened to you. Dude, I once shot a bobber out of a tree with a pellet gun. I felt so good about myself. I used to have that bobber. Then I lost it. Motherfucker. I'm so sad. Man, I fucking can't believe I fucking scrapped my van. SpongeBob definitely makes some wild innuendos. I grew up with kids who weren't allowed to watch SpongeBob. I think Fortnite is bad because of just the collapse. My GF's little brother, he's 7, was doing the Gritty, and then he went onto his iPad and pulled it up. The Gritty song was NBA Youngboy. He was listening to fucking NBA Youngboy at 7 because it's the Gritty song. His parents literally do not give a fuck. And I mean, shit, Youngblood, Youngboy's fire, but like, I mean, shit, Youngblood. Youngboy's fire, but like, you gotta wait until you're at least in middle school, bro, before you start listening to rap like that. Not fucking first grade. Genuinely was wild to me when he showed me the Gritty song. My jaw dropped and I showed my girlfriend immediately. Okay, yeah, cool. That is fucking crazy. That is fucking wild. Yeah, that, you know what, Tyson? That story just confirmed that I was 100% right. Ban kids from Fortnite. This game is not suitable for children. Fuck it. Get rid of it. Delete it. Be gone with it. Let's see it done. Let's see it done. I'm about it. Let's fucking be done with this shit. Be done with this shit. No more 7-year-olds listening to rap because they caught a fucking bit of a rap song as part of a dance on fucking Fortnite. No, I don't know. I'm only half serious about this take because on the one hand, I do not want to be part of the crowd of people preventing kids from having fun doing whatever they want to do as long as it's not hurting anybody. Because I think that the games are corrupting the minds of the youth, because that argument was used against me and I fucking hated it because I felt like it was condescending and removed me of my agency and my parents of their agency and all this other shit, right? And I still kind of feel that way. So I'm not 100% serious, but I do think, like, should we maybe fucking consider, the relationship that people, and I'm not even, like, let's broaden it, right? Let's not think about just fucking video games in a vacuum by themselves. Because they're just one front, I think, of a broader problem, which is technology being more and more and more involved in people's lives. And I think the question is, in my mind, at least right now, what we've reached is, at least what I want to ask is, like, should we try and prevent these gaming companies from making their games so fucking appealing to young people that they keep coming back time after time, hour after hour, day after day? Should we put some kind of mandatory fucking screen limit on that parents have to use or are strongly encouraged to use? Do we need a public education campaign? Because I don't think it's good that 7-year-olds are spending fucking hours playing Fortnite. I don't think it's good because you know what? When I was 7, I was playing outside, I was reading, and yeah, sometimes I would play some video games. But my parents were they were like, I don't know what you would say. They were like conservative about my screen time. I had to get all my chores done, and if I had any homework, I needed to get that done. I had to get everything fucking done before I played games, and only then could I. And if by the time I got everything fucking done, dinner was done, or I was going to take a shower and then dinner was going to be done, then I was going to take a shower and then dinner was going to be done, and then, after dinner was done and everything was eaten, and everything, and after my parents had watched TV, eventually I would to play some video games, but I would only be able to play for like 2 hours before usually before my dad would come into the living room and be like, hey, sport, you gotta pack it up, get to a save point. My dad was a fucking gamer back in the day. He's had a stroke since then, and now he doesn't. It's weird. He used to be like a total fucking computer geek and a gamer and shit, and now he doesn't. Dude, now he can barely navigate fucking PowerPoint. It's wild. Wild. It's tremendously wild for me because he's a big part of the reason why I'm into fucking computers and into fucking video games and shit. But anyway, so yeah, but my time was not spent like on that shit exclusively, and my screen time was monitored, and I really was never able to develop the levels of obsession that some people do. And I think that was good on the part of my parents. I think it was right of them. I could use a YouTube time limiter as an adult. Honestly, probably me too. I sometimes like have to actively choose just not to listen to anything because I have a natural instinct to want to have something in my ear going, you know? I don't know why. It's just like a fucking I don't know. I don't know why. I genuinely don't. I just like to have something going. I don't get how people replace sports and outside time. Uh, gets replaced by a phone. I have a sprained ankle still, and it's so boring not being able to walk outside, rollerblade, or skateboard. Yeah, I know. Like, but that's what fucking late stage capitalism and American fucking culture has led us to. We have not. We have allowed tech companies and the promise of innovation and the probably these different fucking social media companies and all this shit. We have allowed that to strip us of our drive to actually engage with the world around us. And so a lot of us just aren't spending that much time outside anymore. Now, I will say, now I'll be listening to shit while I do it, but I spend quite a bit of time outside, you know, compared to, I think, a lot of like internet denizens. And I'm glad that I get that time, but I want to get more. I want to unplug more. And I think more people should because, like, this isn't where you live. This is. This isn't where I live. Neither is this little outbuilding. But the world is. That's where people live, out there in the world. With the plants and the trees and the stones and the houses, other people's houses, residential areas, all the big buildings and stuff, the outside world, you know, that's real life. Your town, your street, your driveway. Literally just go stand outside on your porch with nothing playing at all. And just take it in for a few minutes. See what you hear, see what you see. Really consider it for a second. Be in that moment and see if you don't feel a little more grounded. Like I said, the fact of it is your life is not out here, or I'm sorry, your life is not in this phone, your life is not on your devices, your life is not online, your life is in the world. Luckily for us, the world is right outside our doorsteps. I just fear that a lot of people aren't choosing to spend a lot of time out there, and it's sad, you know, like, I don't know. To some degree, I feel like there's only so much you can say about it before you start to sound like a broken record, but I don't think people realize how much we've lost. And when you consider that in concert with the fact that this has been initiated by a purposeful choice by people in positions of huge amounts of wealth, it it begins to sound kind of sinister. It begins to sound less like a tragic occurrence of our culture and more like a virus that's been foisted upon us. And in my opinion, it warrants paying more attention to it than as if it were merely a natural occurrence of our culture. I think it's time we move beyond commentary and study and time we move towards action, because this is a problem. The inability of people to look other people in the eye, regardless of the fact, or regardless of whether or not they have autism, is a fucking problem. The inability of people to confront people who break well-established social customs is a fucking problem. When it comes to, and just to clarify, so someone doesn't try to use that as like an anti-trans like dig against me, I'm talking about like basic politeness kind of shit. The fact that people just don't feel empowered to confront a Karen sometimes. The fact that people sometimes just don't know how to react when someone starts freaking out at them like that. The fact that people are so fucking rigidly and rabidly online that when they are in a public place of business, they're like detached. They're just thinking about what they're going to be doing later, you know, what their Instagram community would think of this or whatever. I don't know. I feel like we live in such a fucking tremendously detached and fake society that didn't get that way on its own. Oh, what's going on? Now that we're kind of on this topic, it relates. Rasha Jackson, the son of UFC legend, he was trying to live up to his father's name and become a fighter, but he's a streamer right now. He just allowed his chat to rage bait him into almost killing a man. He kept saying things like, "I'm not gonna let you call me a bitch. I'm not gonna let you call me a crash. Call me a fake crash out. I'll show you all." Dude was talking insane, and then he went out and almost killed a guy yesterday. He completely fucked up his life because the stream chat baited him into it. Yeah, that's just a fucking loose cannon. That's what we call a loose cannon. That's a motherfucker that was... I gotta tell you, that's a motherfucker that was gonna be rage baited eventually. Like, if not by the internet, then by somebody in his life. Dude, if you are so fucking sensitive, like, dude, I just want you to think, Tyson, because you've been in here when my chat has been quoting TJ Kirk, the most deplorable place on the internet. You know, you've been here when my chat's like that. Have I ever, 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 ever even approached even a tenth of that level of salty? Ever in my entire streaming career? And think about the type of shit that people tell me in here. Think about the kind of shit that people put in this chat. And then think about the fact that I've never gone that far. Dude, that is... I'm telling you, that is a uniquely fucking fucked up person that was gonna fucking... They were gonna do some crazy shit, whether they had a fucking YouTube chat to bait them into it or not. Honestly, maybe it's a good thing that the fucking internet was able to bait that out of them quick and get them prosecuted and shit. Maybe he'll receive therapy in prison. About the best you can hope. Yeah, getting in a bad argument in real life would make him act the same way, probably. And he probably has in the past. And you know what? It's probably worked out in his favor because the other person's probably been the bigger person and been like, "Hey, no, dude, just chill out. I don't want to fight you. No, come on. Hey, I don't want to fight you." Maybe it's even been someone who's trained enough to be like, "Hey, nope, I'm not gonna fight you. This is not gonna happen," you know? That's probably what it's been because his dad's like some famous UFC fighter. So he's probably never been faced with the fucking consequences of his fucking decisions because he's probably never been allowed to let it get that far. Well, he just made it go that far. And now he's probably gonna, based on what Tyson's telling me, it sounds like Tyson, is he gonna get prosecuted for some shit? Like, is this like, When you say he tried to kill a dude, what do you mean? I've seen people call you some wild shit and know you just laugh and honestly engage with it, because the more people doing that, the more views you get, unless they're going crazy. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, if somebody's being, like, too wild and insane, I'll ban them. Honestly, I'll ban racism and fucking anti-Semitism out of here before I'll ban transphobia. It's just the truth of it. I think those are more pernicious evils if we're being fully considerate. And we don't know yet. I'd say his best bet is his father is going to privately settle. Oh, jeez. Well, maybe he doesn't learn then, dude. Well, fuck. You know what's going to happen then? Motherfucker's going to fucking get baited again. If that settlement doesn't include a requirement that he gets therapy and completes it successfully, goes through an anger management course and all this shit, oh boy. Be ready to watch it go down again. Some people never learn, dude. Some people will never learn on their own. It's one of the sad facts about humanity, dude. Some people need a teacher. Like, that guy might try to kill you again if it was personal. I mean, tried to kill me, they killed me, I could sell for shit. Aye. Yeah, dude, I could. Dude, if somebody tried to kill me but didn't get that far, you know, like, but I was still kind of fucked up. Oh, dude, you best bet I'd be settling for half their fucking net worth, bitches. No, I don't know that I'd get that much out of them, but god damn, I'd be extracting my pound of flesh. Call me Shylock, because I'd have my pound of flesh. His manager called him, said, dude, he could be dead, and all he said in response was, my bad. It was definitely attempted murder. What the fuck? So he picked on a professional wrestler, or he was a professional wrestler? I think he was. You're saying he's a wrestler, right? In that case, he's definitely disturbed, because the one rule in martial arts is, like, avoid street fights at all costs. Well, fucking... I get the impression he was the son of a fucking martial artist. That doesn't mean he knows shit, you know? And even if he knows shit, that doesn't mean he appreciates shit about it. Like, you gotta understand, one of the problems with honorable pursuits is that you can make any pursuit you can make any deadly or dangerous pursuit as cool as you want it to be. And you can try and enforce that to the best of your ability, but eventually you will accidentally train someone who's going to stab you in the back and take your secrets to the broader world. He picked up a professional wrestler and slammed him. The person who did the assault is a trained MMA fighter, not a wrestler. He picked a wrestler, not an MMA fighter. A professional wrestler picked him up, slammed him on the back of his head. The slam knocked him out when he hit him 23 times in the face while he was out. What the fuck? Oh, dude, that's definitely attempted murder. That's... Oh, man. How the fuck is he gonna settle for that? You can't settle for attempted murder. You can't, like, what is he gonna bribe the DA too? Did he already? Did he do it at the crime scene? Did he, like, hang around with cash in his pocket? Like, yeah, I'm gonna need it for this one. How'd you get so chill? Uh, shit. Uh, lots of weed, lots of acid, coming out as trans, being more real with myself every day as best I can, knowing myself has been a big one. And I don't know. I've surrounded myself with chill people for a long time. I mean, I say chill people. I guess the people I've surrounded myself with have also had the capacity to be quite fiery at times. But like one of my best friends for a long time was like a super fucking chill person. One of the people I was best friends with for a long time was super chill when they weren't, not chill. We would fight at least 3 or 4 times a week. So I guess they weren't that chill, but when they were chill, they were super chill, I don't know how else to put it. Bipolar ass motherfucker. Anyway, um, my partner's a super chill person. And most of the like auxiliary friends that I've had, oh man, like I keep forgetting about like two of the people that I was tripping with back in 2020. They were fucking the chillest people in the whole world, dude. You gotta hang with chill people. You gotta do chill shit like smoking weed and talking about the stars and the trees and the smallness of yourself in comparison to the grandness of all that out there. Some would say you gotta trip. It happened 2 days ago. The police yesterday said they were looking into it. No, just nothing has happened. What the fuck? He's in California. He's probably got food for life and permanent housing for doing this. Nah, dude. Oh, Tyson. Oh, Tyson. That is not how California works. California has a super high incarceration rate. And California jails are not nice places. Oh, the California Department of Prisons is not a fucking great place to be assigned to. Not a great fate to have. Kamala Harris would know a lot about that high incarceration rate. Yep. No, haven't you heard, Cappy or Florida man? We're supposed to be licking Kamala Harris's knob because she's not Trump, and she wouldn't be deploying the National Guard to fucking Chicago. It's like nobody ever said she would do every fucking thing that Trump did. What they said is that Kamala Harris is going to be so fucking much not enough, so fucking much so she would be sufficiently not enough and sufficiently opposed to leftist interests as to make her indistinguishable from a standard Republican, meaning that she was not an ethical vote for anyone who actually cares about the progress of those issues because she represents of a party that doesn't want to actually fight for those issues, a party that has refused to be moved over on those issues and refused to fight for them on a legislative level. Even if Kamala Harris wouldn't have done most of the shit that Trump is doing right now, that doesn't mean voting for her was any fucking better a choice in the long run. Maybe it is in the fucking short run. Yeah, sure. Maybe it is domestically for people here in the short run. Maybe it would have been better to vote Kamala for us here. In some respects, she still would have been cranking up ICE. She was talking about doing that on the campaign trail. She still would have been cranking up fucking uh, police funding and shit like that and support for the police. Hell, she was a cop. And her biggest fucking support base in California was fucking cops. So she still would have been fucking cranking up the dial on that. It probably wouldn't have been as visible as it is right now. But she would have been cranking up the dial. It wouldn't have been as visible. It wouldn't have been as disgusting and Gestapo tactics. But it would have been the same kind of bullshit that's been going on throughout the Biden presidency. This fucking, catch and release system of deportation where people just continuously get deported and come fucking back because they're not fixing the fucking central problem, which is America's broken immigration system. A broken immigration system, by the way, Kamala Harris would have done nothing to fix. She would have done nothing to fix. In fact, she would have probably tried to prevent people from the left within her own fucking party from pursuing measures to get it fixed. People will defend this idea of lesser of two evils voting until their fucking vote doesn't matter anymore at all. People will vote their way into fascism with this shit. That's why I oppose it. Because I think that if we fucking capitalize right, I think that if leftists start making the argument now, you need to start getting bold and loud now, talking about an independent movement or a third-party movement now, I think we can challenge the Democratic and Republican parties for power in a whole bunch of fucking ways. I don't think it needs to be just the presidency. We need a bunch of fucking new leftist progressive candidates. We need to start screaming for it. We need to start screaming for lefties and progressives. Whole, like crazy fucking, I'm talking radical progressives. I'm talking people who will champion universal health care. I'm talking, and that shit needs to be, we need to seek to do it, like I said, through independent and third-party movements. We need to start screaming for this shit now. We need to start screaming for this shit now. I think we could start to challenge them as soon as the midterms if lefties start screaming about it now. And for DNC candidates that are running on platforms that are completely separate from the DNC, I'm down for them too. Like Zohran Mamdani is technically running as a DNC candidate, but the DNC is like united against him, Or at least I think he's running as a DNC candidate, is he not? I may be wrong about that. I don't know. I don't actually know if he's running as a DNC candidate, but I'm pretty sure, because I'm pretty sure he was in the fucking primary. Yeah, he was in the primary, so yeah. 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 I'm an idiot. Once again. So I think a candidate like that, that's fine. But I'm talking like if you got, oh man, we need to start shouting about this shit now. People who keep saying we need a third party vote for them, it falls them saying we need a third party, would just vote for the many that already exist. We'd be a multi-party system effective tomorrow. I don't think that's true, dude. I think that a lot of the people who say we need to vote for a third party already vote, or they fucking, I do think some of them don't, but I think that engagement does need to be higher, but I also think that it needs a lot of fucking people to come over from the two dominant parties. That's just how the fucking electoral system shakes out. There's no way there's enough people that shout about this shit because we are a minority. We are a political minority, but I want to convince people because, like, mathematically, a third party, maybe it can't win the presidency right now. Maybe it can. I think it probably could. I think if you fucking stacked the cards right and did the right outreach in the states where an independent or a third-party candidate can win the Electoral College, I think that you actually could put up a really fucking good run of it. You'd have to win. I think it's only like 27 states or something. So you'd have to win every single one of those states. But I think if you could do that, and I think you could do that, then you could actually fucking get, at that point you win. Because the Republicans and Democrats would split the rest of the votes, and so they would each end up with like half the states that you have. But even if that's not true, even if we couldn't, there's plenty of gubernatorial races, there's plenty of senatorial races, there's plenty of House of Representative races. We need to start filling these up with non-DNC, non-affiliated candidates, or with candidates who are only affiliated in name only, who have leftist platforms. And we need to hold their feet to the fire. If they don't bring this shit to light, if they don't move on it, we need to get them out and find better ones. But we need to get, I don't know, dude. We need to get on this shit. The Founding Fathers didn't even want a true democracy. 70% of people couldn't read or write back then. You think they wanted those people voting? That's why the Electoral College exists. I know, and I oppose that. Because back then you didn't even know who was running, let alone how to write their name on a ballot. No, I know. But that's one of the reasons why I oppose this system and why I think we need to start getting people who aren't allied with the two parties in so that they can start to dismantle it and implement something better. Because I got news for you. The two parties love the Electoral College for the same fucking reason the Founding Fathers love it, because it encourages stupidity amongst the voter base, it encourages fucking non-participation, it encourages factionalization. It's fucking, oh man, it's great if you're a fucking bureaucrat or a leader or something like that, but it's horrible if you're a fucking working class person. It's fucking horrible if you're just an average voter. And I want to get people in who would oppose that system and implement something better. We just vote their picks who are horrible, corrupt, and secretly friends behind each other's backs. So basically all the rich, corrupt people vote for who the... Yeah, exactly. And we just vote for who's slightly worse. So America's an oligarchy, basically. Yep. Elites love the Electoral College. Yep. This is why we need to support unaffiliated candidates in the midterms and in the fucking presidential election if we can, and in the elections that happen in 2028 in general. We need to start supporting unaffiliated, independent, etc. kind of candidates. Non-DNC, non-RNC, independent motherfuckers that are talking about leftist shit. Third-party motherfuckers talking about leftist shit. Because our ideas sell with the American public. Bernie is a great example of how to present those ideas. There are other ways to present those ideas too. One of the things I've been wanting to make forever, and I finally paid off my computer. Ah, man, it feels really fucking good. But I did want to tell you guys that. I finally paid off my computer, so I feel more comfortable about creating stuff now. I kind of want to start writing a script based on some figures from the South's history. Huey Long and Huey Newton. And I've been wanting to do this for like half a year, but I want to start, moving on it here soon. And the reason is because I want to show people that these ideas we have as leftists, they sell with the American public, they sell with working class people, they sell with average Americans. They sold in the 30s when it was Huey Long. They sold in the 60s when it was Huey Newton, or the 50s or 60s. I can't remember which years he was operating in. They also sold in the 60s when Martin Luther King Jr. was out there preaching for him. Andrew Yang for president. I don't know what he would do other than he said he would give every American $1,000. NBA 2K comes out next week and it's going to take over my life. Yeah, no. Well, Good luck on that. Yeah, no, I wish Andrew Yang would have gotten it, but he didn't. And even if he would have, dude, there's a good chance he wouldn't have been able to implement that shit. But this UBI shit, I would be shocked if within the next two fucking presidential cycles it doesn't become a serious fucking article of contention. It should. Because they're going to have to figure out some way to supplement people's income. Because no matter what AI detractors will tell you about AI, I got news for you. It's coming. I hear that train a-comin', it's coming round the bend. The AI train is coming and nobody's ready for it, but it's coming for your job. And it's coming quick. If you think you will be spared, you'll get a new thing quick. When you were just a baby, humans did these jobs. Now they're done by robots. Now they're done by robots, and they all lost their jobs, but they're... But you know they had it coming for productivity. When you hear that robot's churning, don't you get filled with glee. So I'm asking and I'm pleading, oh my words are all in line. We need a UBI, yeah, we need it now tonight. And if you will implement this, you will save the world. Or at least you'll save the economy. As the new day unfurls. I don't know. AI is coming hard and fast without lube. Yep. I work retail. I highly doubt they are going to put AI in until it's like super, super good. How are you going to stop people from stealing? And it's not Japan where a lot of people are nice. A lot of people are scumbags for retail workers. So I can only imagine how they would treat AI retail workers. Well, you're misunderstanding how this is going to work, right? So you're massively misunderstanding how the evolution of this is going to work. Now, some businesses like Walmarts and Targets, those that choose to remain operating largely the way they are going to have effectively some robot workers, but they're not going to be interactive. They will have interactive workers, right? That might be some of the last human workforce that they keep on, in fact, or people whose job it is basically to kind of stand around in certain places, to kind of walk around maybe, or to offer samples, something like that, but something to give it a human touch. And maybe eventually they'll replace those people with robots, and those robots will have personalities. But the stalker robots that are going to be going through and at certain hours of the day and that kind of thing, those are not going to talk to you. Those are not going to react to you in any way. Or maybe they will, but only in a very like simplistic kind of way. And they just won't even respond to bad language and that kind of thing. They'll have alarms that'll be set off if you kick at them or anything like that. Um, and these things will be watching you 24/7, just so you know. They'll all have sophisticated cameras that will be able to be tapped into by security at any time to track shoplifters and things like that. There will probably be specific security bots designed to look like the customer service bots, which will probably be implemented alongside the humans. And those will be, there will be probably security bots that are kind of disguised as those, but are basically just little uh, tulpa dolls for the security guards to look through and observe shoplifters in order to follow them to apprehension without involving a human being. But there will be completely new store formats that open up in the wake of this shit. Mark my words, in the next 5 years, If it doesn't exist already, there will be a business that specializes in being a completely human free experience of a grocery store here in the United States. It'll start out in the big cities, then it's going to come everywhere. And it's going to be a completely, it might have 2 or 3 people that work there, but most of their job is sitting around at a desk monitoring numbers and talking shit. And then every so often they have to go fix a conveyor belt or something like that. But mostly it's just robots. Shelves that are meant to be automatically restockable, completely new shelf formats. It's kind of crazy to think about how it might end up working, right? I'm not the engineer to sit here and think about all the specifics of it'll work, but a basement area where all the goods come in and people can come in and go through the shopping areas and get to what they need. And as soon as they take one off, it's automatically replenished from stocks that are kept in the basement that are moved from there, from the back general storage area down there to the staging area, moved from the staging area into the actual, display area, and then automatic cash registers and shit. A few security bots that are that look like they're armed, maybe, or that look like they could do something to you or something. Maybe you've got a couple of security human beings in there, a couple security guards that are actual human beings. Maybe one of them doesn't look like a security guard, but that's basically what they're there to be. This shit's coming. Retail, AI's coming. Food service, I worked at a job that was made non-existent with robotic technology and AI, basically. I used to be a hostess at Taco Bell, which meant my job was cleaning up the lobby, cashing customers out for their orders, like they would place an order at the kiosk or whatever, and I'd cash them out, ringing them up, just like taking their orders directly. That was my job for like a year. And then one day I was told not to ring people up at the register anymore, that I was to help them place their order at the kiosk or to tell them to place their order on the mobile app. That my job was then basically to just clean the lobby, which had always been part of my job, clean the lobby and the parking lot and the bathrooms, right? But now that was my whole job because they were basically trying to eliminate my job and turn it into just a cleaning janitorial job where I just clean the place up a little bit, there for 4 hours, and then I'm gone. And that was enabled by the installation of kiosks. I'm concerned about AI taking cybersecurity jobs. It's coming. Machines doing minimum wage and entry-level jobs. What could go wrong? Oh, dude, it's going to be everywhere. It's going to be in factories. It's going to be fucking everywhere. And that's what I'm saying, dude. They're going to have to figure out ways to get people some income that doesn't involve them actually going into these jobs, because there's just going to be too few of them. Too few. A lot of the jobs that I'm talking about could be still entry level. Like a lot of the remaining jobs I'm talking about, like being one of the monitoring people over the fucking complicated ass robotic supermarket, that's, yeah, you might be part of the 5-person monitoring team, or the 3-person monitoring team or whatever, that, 2 engineers and 1 security person, or 1 engineer, 1 cross-trained engineer / security person, and 1 security person. So you've got kind of a flexible team. And some of those would be entry level, right? But that's compared to what might be a staff of like 30 people for a grocery store right now. People coming in at different shifts, not just to run the registers, but to stock stuff, to cut the meat, all this shit. And a lot of these jobs are going away, dude. Now, I will tell you, they're going to go away first in the big cities. They'll go away last in the small towns. And in fact, they may not ever go away completely in every place all over the planet. I don't think we're ever going to have a society that is completely free of any human input into the economy or anything like that. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think there will always be a market for butcher shops with human hands, right? I think there's always going to be a market for restaurants with just human hands. I think there's always going to be a market for art with just human hands. But I do think that AI is going to take over a lot of these fucking things that nobody really fucking gives a fuck about. Nobody wants to be a stalker at Walmart. Nobody wants to be a cashier at McDonald's or a fucking grill person at McDonald's. Nobody wants these jobs. They have horribly high fucking turnover rates. They pay fucking terribly. They're just bad jobs all around. Get rid of them. Be done with them. Let's get fucking fuck it. You know? Thoughts on AI generated art? Um, I can't talk against it because I fuck around with Suno and I like some of the shit that I make with it. You know, is it stealing? I think there's an argument to be made, but I think that that's mostly a problem of corporate ethics, you know? And it's like, do I, like, do I block myself from the fruits of corporate ethics in this instance? Well, how many other instances am I going to apply that to? Am I just not going to eat any commercially processed meat anymore? I mean, I'm gonna fucking, my family's gonna starve to death if I don't, you know? Like, at least I don't know how to make enough vegan shit to just completely cut meat out of my diet, and I would damn near have to if I was going to completely cut processed meat right out, like, because with the farm being what it is right now, we don't produce a lot of our own meat right now. So, you know, like, at what point do I draw the line? So in my mind, it's one of these things where I think hopefully eventually there will be like a class action suit that forces these companies to pay out for all these different artists that they've used, right? Um, in fact, I'm sure it's going to happen. Eventually, there's going to be a class action suit um, where there's going to be thousands of artists who are suing these big AI companies, and they're going to be made to pay out. And the venture capitalists who back them are probably going to pay that money out because probably part of the fucking settlement is going to end up being some kind of framework for licensing these works in the future. And it's going to establish a legal precedent that's going to be an element of this fucking settlement whenever it does happen. And I'm hoping that that eventually happens because a lot of artists are going to get paid out for that shit. And it's going to establish the framework by which people will get paid out for AI art created with their imagery in the future. So yeah, I think AI generated art is fine, but I do think artists should be compensated for the usage of their art whenever an AI algorithm uses that art. And no framework exists for that right now, which means that it is a pretty unethical product, but so is fucking factory processed meat, so is fucking a lot of high tech modern technology type of shit. Everything is unethical. Everything, like, there's no ethical consumption under capitalism. That's not to say you should just go fucking buy you the fucking biggest, giant, most inefficient engine you can for your car and just guzzle gas all day long. But if you're talking about something as revolutionary as these AI tools, I think that the obvious conclusion is what I said as to the like legal and economic ramifications of it as to artists. And I'm looking forward to the time when that is fully established because I think that at that point it will become fully ethical to use these services. At least it'll become way more ethical. But I do think right now I think that Civics have a fucking point when they say that right now AI is basically stealing. I agree because they're not fucking, because here's my problem, right? If you want to get like the high powered versions of these AIs, you need to sign up for a package where you're paying, right? So you're paying these companies to use the service. Part of this service is predicated on scraping a bunch of these images from these artists and sometimes correlating them by just like their name and by their themes and all this other shit. And whenever a customer of one of these AIs uses their AI to create an image with their subscription, that person's art is basically being used to generate a commercial product without paying that artist. I think that isn't like, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a copyright lawyer. That sounds like copyright infringement to me. So I think that needs to be resolved. But I don't think that means that AI is incapable of creating art. I think that AI art is art. I just think that there are some legal and economic ramifications to it that need to be sorted out so that people can proceed forward. Damn, you know what? Damn. You know what? I gotta go, but I think I just touched on something that I wonder if Paul do a co-stream with me one of these days, because I want to kind of um, pick his brain about this very thing we were just talking about, right? The legal ramifications of AI. I want to see if he would agree that yes, AI art is art, right? AI is a valid tool, that it's going to continue to be developed and everything, but that right now, as of right now, it is stealing on a mass scale that needs to be accounted for, resolved. Those people need to be paid, and the framework needs to be established for licensing artists' work to be used in AI generators. And I think the argument I just made is pretty fucking ironclad, right? For why that's true. For why it's copyright infringement with the way it's done right now. So it'd be interesting to hear his thoughts on it, because I know he's railed against anti-AI people pretty hard. I'm not anti-AI at all, but I do have this criticism of it that I should anti-AI people. Anyway, I gotta go, y'all. I will talk to you guys later. Wow, it's been 3 fucking hours. Holy shit. Bye.